Welcome to Nugget 241 with Steve and Dana Groman. And this is our last question in the middle school, high school series of questions. And I want to encourage you to go back and listen to all of these nuggets on these questions that these students have asked. They all have been extremely deep. Yeah, they're just really good. I'm grateful that we did this. If you have a question, you can text it to us, 603-616-8907, or a series of questions that your family might have, and we can do a series like this again with questions or intersperse them with other nuggets. But I do want to encourage you to go back and watch not only these nuggets, but our past nuggets. We are on, what is this, Nugget 241. Well, an assistant pastor called the other day and he was talking to you and he was talking about light, and you started talking to him about light. And I was like, we did a really cool nugget on light. Go look it up. So please go back and see what all the other topics are that we've done on the nuggets. And probably in about 8 more, I will be doing a recap of the last gob of nuggets. I'll hush now so you can go on and we can do last question. They asked, how to not be friends with someone you don't like in your neighborhood. Well, that's a new twist.
Ooh, that's a good question, huh? We all feel like that sometimes. Number one, you should do the best you can anyway. It's good to have relationships with people. It's important that we be the right kind of person. You don't want to be ugly and nasty and any of that kind of thing. You don't want to do that. But of course, that's the natural tendency. Jesus, once again, talking in Luke 10:27, he answered them saying, thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, with all thy soul, with all thy strength, with all thy mind, and thy neighbor as thyself. Number one, and I've talked to lots of people that don't love themselves. Quite frankly, they're very disgusted with themselves, and that's being very polite about it. Truth is that the Bible says that we need to love ourselves, and a vessel can never pour out what it doesn't already have. You can't pour a glass of water out of a pitcher that's empty. That's why you refill the pitcher. We have to have that love inside in the first place. But it does say, love your neighbor as thyself.
Well, I think it's interesting that they said, like someone in your neighborhood, and the Bible here in Luke 10:27 is actually using the word neighbor. Because when we were reading the question, I was thinking, well, what if you don't like somebody in your church or in your school? But they said neighborhood. So that was just kind of interesting that they said that. I would say you don't have to, hang out with them or call them your best friend or text them
just
at
do the best
2
you
in the
can.
morning. Just be decent to people and polite and kind. I know that some people that you might have thought was your least likely person that would become a friend, you end up being really good friends with them. So don't judge people too quickly.
For sure, because that happens a lot. People that you would be your enemy, so to speak, one day is your best friend the next, and vice versa. So be careful. But we're supposed to love our neighbor as ourselves. The Bible says that repeatedly in many different places in Matthew and Luke, in Romans, in Galatians, in James, and it just goes on and on about loving your neighbor as yourself. I would say, like we've answered it here, it's important that we do the best job that we can. Don't expect everybody to be a loving neighbor because they're not. You shouldn't change who you are. You still reflect the images of Christ. Be the best person that you can be.
So I guess as far as you don't have to be friends with them, like you said in the question here, how to not be friends, you have to work on a friendship. So just don't work on the friendship. Just be civil to them and do what you need to do and move on.
That's exactly right. Also in 1 Peter 3 in the ERV, verse number 8 and 9 says,
so all of you should live together in peace. Try to understand each other. Love each other like brothers and sisters. Be kind and humble. Don't do wrong to anyone to pay them back for doing wrong to you. Or don't insult anyone to pay them back for insulting you. But ask God to bless them. Do this so that you yourself will receive a blessing. And that is probably the best advice to end this nugget and this series with.
Just imagine if you would pray that God would bless them and give them a good day. When we back ourselves out of the equation and we just simply pray simple prayer like this, it is amazing how God answers it. And people will turn around and they'll change and they don't even know why. Of course, we know why. God did it. And in time, you can maybe talk about it. They'll change. And we've seen it so many times, whether it's a family member, whether it is a friend, it doesn't matter. We've seen it over and over and over. When we are the people that we should be, God's free to do the work that he wants to do on their life, and he will do it.
So if there is someone in your neighborhood, pray for them and ask God to bless them, and you will receive a blessing. And that blessing may be that person you didn't want to become friends with
That's right.
becomes a really good friend.
That's right.
All right. Well, thank you.